Hello everyone, I'm Sarah, and today I'm showing you, as promised, the full tutorial to create this pot holder in Tunisian first stitch. To create this pot holder, I have used a medium worsted to bulky wool yarn in color of white and a 7mm Tunisian hook, which corresponds to a UK-US size K10.5, I think, which is rather big. This is 18.5 centimeters wide and 21.5 centimeters long. But the good thing about this project is that you can make it as big as you want, and you can use the yarn that you prefer. In this case, especially if you want to use the pot holder, I advise to use a washable yarn like cotton or some acrylic. The only important thing is that you initially chain a number of stitches that is requested by the stitch pattern. In this case, for the Tunisian first stitch, we need to chain a multiple of 2 plus 3. So to show you this tutorial, I am using today this beautiful self-striping yarn, that's acrylic, and a 5mm Tunisian cable hook with short cable. So let's begin. So I will begin by making a slip knot. Like that, and make a chain of 19 stitches. That's 16, a multiple of 2 plus 3, which makes 19. 1, 2, 16, 17, 18, and 19. So that's my chain. To begin with, we will create a standard foundation row in Tunisian crochet by pulling up loops from all chains, from all stitches, creating the initial chain. So the one loop we have on the hook already counts as stitch number 1, let's say. So 2, 3, 18, and 19. To complete our foundation row, we will proceed with a return pass, a classic one, by yarning over and chaining 1, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops together, yarn over and pull through 2 loops together until the end of the row. So here we are. We are left with just 1 loop on the hook, and this is our foundation row completed, which counts as row 1. Now let's start with the Tunisian first stitch. As we know, and if you don't, I have a stitch tutorial for the Tunisian first stitch. I'll leave a link for this in the top right hand corner of this video. So let's begin with the forward pass in Tunisian simple stitch. So we'll insert the hook under the first vertical bar, yarn over and pull up a loop like that, and proceed like this, repeating this across. Okay, so here we are at the end of our forward pass, and as always we will complete it with a so-called neat closing stitch, as I like to call it, by inserting the hook into that last border stitch, that is to say both under its front vertical bar and its back bar at the same time. Yarn over, pull through and up on the hook. Now, as we know, for the Tunisian first stitch, the return pass is very important. So we will begin by chaining one, yarn over and chain one, and now we will yarn over and pull through 2 loops together twice. This is one time, yarn over and pull through 2 loops together. This is the second time. Now we will chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and we will resume by yarning over and pulling through 2 loops together twice, like this. Now chain 3 again, yarn over and pull through 2 loops together twice, chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, yarn over and pull through 2 loops together, and we'll repeat this until the end of our return pass. And one last time. Okay. Okay, that was row 2. Let's proceed with row 3 in the forward pass. As we know, we need to pull up loops in Tunisian simple stitch from all available vertical bars. 1, 2. And as we do so, we need to skip the chain 3 arcs we have created in the previous return pass and bring them slightly to the front with our fingers, if need be. This is something we can do at any time. This is just so as to be able to crochet comfortably. And this is what creates the bobbly texture of the stitch. So it needs to be done. But only if this chain 3 arc does not pop in front automatically. It could either pop to the back or to the front. So if it doesn't pop to the front but wants to pop to the back, then you need to help it by bringing it forward with your fingers as you crochet, or at any point afterwards at the end of your work, or whenever you want. So see, like this, And we are approaching the end of our forward pass again. So this is our last 3 stitches. As always, we'll finish with a neat closing stitch. Okay. And now our return pass. In this case, we will yarn over and pull through 1 loop only first, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops together only once, and then we will begin by chaining 3, 1, 2, 3, and again, just like before, we will yarn over and pull through 2 loops together twice. Then again chain 3, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, chain 3, okay, 1, 2, 2 loops left on the hook. We will yarn over and pull through those 2 loops together, 2. Okay, so this is the repeat. Now in the forward pass for our next row, we will need again to work in Tunisian simple stitch across in the forward pass, bring in the chain 3 arcs to the front, anyway skipping them, and in the return pass for my next row I will work just as in row number 2, while I will alternate this return pass with the one I've just shown you. So the difference is in the first return pass I am yarning over and chaining 1, then I yarn over and pull through 2 loops together twice from beginning to end. While in the second return pass I yarn over and chain 1, then I yarn over and pull through 2 loops together only once, then I make the chain 3, and then I resume making the yarn over and chain and pulling through 2 loops together twice until the end, where until I'm left with only 2 loops on the hook, and I will yarn over and pull through those 2 loops as well. So I need to work for my pot holder 15 rows in Tunisian first stitch. So I'll meet you there and I will show you how to close and bind off stitches for the first panel, because we are going to need 2 panels. So here we are. I have completed my 14th row. So that's the 15th row, it's the last one, and I'm going to work it with you. So I'm going to pull up loops in Tunisian simple stitch, just like before. Okay, so here we are, border stitch. Okay, so this time around I will complete my last row with a standard return pass. So I yarn over and pull through one loop only first, then I yarn over and pull through 2 loops together, this time from beginning to end. So now my work is not complete. It is pretty visible here. So we need to bind off stitches. So I will do it using a standard variation for this. So I will insert the hook under the first vertical bar and at the same time through the horizontal bar, yarn over and pull the loop up and through the first loop. Again, insert the hook under the next vertical bar and through the horizontal bar, yarn over, pull through, up on the loop, on the hook, sorry, and through the one loop I had on the hook. And we'll repeat this until the end of the row. Okay, so now I show you how I bind off the very last stitch, because I insert the hook again as if in a neat closing stitch. Okay, and that's the end of it. Okay, so now I will just cut off yarn. Okay, and then I will weave it in the work. Look how cute it looks, doesn't it? So how do I proceed from here? We need to create another identical panel, or let's say we can either create another identical panel with the same texture, or we could change it and choose another stitch, or even very plainly a Tunisian simple stitch, of course in the same dimensions, so 19 stitches wide and 15 rows, or the number of stitches and rows we have used for our very own pot holder. And then we are going to sew the two pieces together, just like I did for this one. In this case I have worked the same motif for front and back, and then we are going to sew both pieces together and I will show you how. So I'll meet you there. So here I have completed my second panel. I decided in the end to make it in Tunisian simple stitch, just to change things a bit. But as I said, you can make it in any stitch you want, and if you want to make it just like the original pot holder, you can use the same Tunisian first stitch on both sides. Anyway, what I do now is I take my two panels. As you see, I have decided not to cut off yarn yet because I'm going to use it right now. So we take both panels and we place them like this, with the front sides facing both ways. So here and here, like this. And what we are going to do now is we are going to sew both pieces together with single crochets. So we are going to crochet all around our two panels. So we are going to make 15 single crochets on the sides. That's the number of rows we've had, and 19 on the bottom and top sides. And it will be pretty easy for us thanks to our neat closing stitches. We have pretty recognizable stitches here. We just needed to pay attention not to skip any stitches as we work. So this is what we do. I just insert the hook in the first stitch of the first panel like this, and simply pull through. This way our two panels are united. Now I chain one and start working in with single crochets. So let's begin. I'll insert the hook like this here and here on the other side, and single crochet. That's the first, and so on until we reach the end of our panels. See? Here and here. Of course, you can choose any other method to sew the two pieces together, either with slip stitches or with a tapestry needle. But for this project, I chose the single crochet because I like the look of it. So, and now I want to show you how I work at corners. Pay attention not to skip any stitches on either side. So, and we're at the end of it. It would be a good idea to count stitches as you proceed, so as to be sure not to miss any stitches. Okay, yes, that's the last one. Okay, so that's the corner stitch for both panels, let's say this one, and we are going to work 2 single crochets. So this is the first, so we need another one, then chain 1 and further 2 single crochets in the very same corner stitch. So 1 and 2. And now we'll proceed working single crochets on the bottom of both pieces together, just like I did so far. Another thing I wanted to show you is this. As you have noticed, I have decided not to weave in ends of both panels at the end, because I don't need to. All I need to do is just to let these yarn ends fall on the inside of our pot holder, so they will be hidden inside and no one knows about it. And once we are finished with the sewing, they will be there forever, let's say, and not be on the way, and we don't need to weave them in anymore. So now I'm going to work all around both pieces, and I'll show you at the end how to make the hanging loop. So see you in a while. Okay, so here I have closed my 2 pieces together like this, and it already looks so chunky in a way and super lovely, if you ask me. I love the look of it, and this is also the reason why I am making 2 panels and sewing them together, especially for a pot holder. We need some thickness in order not to get burned, and this is the result. Another thing I wanted to say is if you want to have a more perfect shape, I advise you block the 2 panels before sewing them together. It will also be easier this way to recognize where to insert a hook when sewing for the single crochets, in case you need to. I haven't blocked them, of course, but I still think it looks pretty. Okay, so now I'm showing you. The last thing to do is a nice chain of 8 stitches like this at the end. Okay, I have worked in single crochet all around my pieces. Now I've reached the end and I am chaining 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stitches. And what I do to close them is simply, you can either insert it here or even here. And close it with a slip stitch. Okay, and then I'll make my slip knot and cut off the yarn. And this one I'll have to weave in the end. And this is my hanging device, so to speak. And that's the pot holder finished. Okay, so I hope you liked this project, and I hope you will keep on following me, and I will probably be uploading further patterns in Tunisian crochet if you want to. Thank you again, and bye bye. See you next time.